Folks, they're coming for Social Security. Republicans have their eyes set on it, but every elected Republican obviously is too terrified to actually take a crack at, eliminating it, getting rid of it, cutting it, um, because it would plunge the country into chaos. And that means that they are more than happy to outsource that job to Donald Trump and by proxy, Elon Musk and Doge. If you'll notice, a lot of the communications around Social Security is a big talk of fraud within the Social Security um, administration. And the reason they are talking about fraud when it comes to Social Security is not because there is fraud. It's because they want to cut Social Security under another name. And Congress, being full of cowards, is trying to allow Donald Trump to do that. So, one of the big things from last week was that the Social Security Administration, the organization that um, disperses Social Security, had its number of offices cut by 60%. And on top of that, they are firing thousands of employees. And that has an actual real effect. And if you're wondering what kind of effect on the world that may have, here is
If you are calling about the status,
well, here is one Sandy Batcham, um, who writes on Blue Sky. I'm 80 years old. I decided to call Social Security. If you're calling about a disability application due to staffing reductions, our average processing time for disability applications is 200 to 230 days. The estimated hold time is greater than 120 minutes. Let's just listen to this call, shall we?
if you are calling about the status of a disability application due to staffing reductions, our average processing time for disability applications is between 200 to 230 days to review your information and medical records. After our review, you will get a letter in the mail with the decision. To ensure quality, your call may be monitored or recorded. At the conclusion of your call, we would like you to participate in a short survey and tell us about your experience. If you would like to participate in the survey, please stay on the line after the agent hangs up. An alternative way to provide feedback is by completing our survey at ssa.gov/feedback. The estimated hold time is greater than 120 minutes. If you are calling about the
One of the ways to cut Social Security in effect, if not on paper, is to cut the administration of Social Security. The fewer people there are to take those calls, the fewer calls get answered, the fewer money gets dispersed, the fewer applications get approved. Cutting that administration and those bureaucrats slows it down to a crawl so that no one can access their benefits other than the people who are privileged enough to be able to sit for 5 hours to be able to talk to an actual person. Um, not every elderly person can do that. Not every able bodied person can do that. Not every, disabled person can do that. Um, so like it's insane. And the entire purpose of defunding it is to de facto cut it. If you make it more difficult, the more hoops you put up, the more difficult you make it to achieve, the fewer people will actually make it. This is actually really commonly known in advertising circles. The more hoops you put between someone and the thing you're asking them to do, the fewer people do the thing. For example, if I told you all to go and donate to a special cause, but in order to get to that special cause donation page, you had to click 10 buttons instead of 3, fewer people would actually do that. And that's just clicking through buttons. That's not expecting someone to wait on a call. um, for God knows how long. We're waiting for an application to process for, over 230 days, most of a year. The entire premise here is cutting Social Security, and people can say, "Oh, Donald Trump wouldn't do that." No, he's going to. There's really no way he avoids doing that and gives out the trillions of dollars in tax cuts to the world's wealthiest men that he's currently planning on doing. Um, and honestly, if you ask him about it point blank, he's just going to lie to you the same way he did about Medicaid cuts. He said, "Oh no, we're not going to cut Medicaid," after endorsing the Medicaid the plan the tax budget plan that cuts Medicaid by almost $1 trillion. These people are evil. They are duplicitous,
It
and they are
also
trying to
helps
trick
bolster
you.
there. The federal government can't possibly provide the service you need, but the private sector can. Narrative.
Exactly. Like, the entire purpose is to enshitify the entire public sector to make it so that everyone clamors for private sector things. Um, in order to privatize whatever public sector things we have left, whether it's transit or Social Security or Medicaid, whatever. They want to privatize it because someone stands to make an awful lot of money off of it. It's not great. Not great at all. It's just I feel so bad because so many people are going to get so hurt. And it's a question of how much hurt can people really take before they fucking lose it, you know? Are they going to try to privatize the military? Probably. There were pitches to George W. Bush to privatize the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. It wouldn't surprise me if there were similar pitches to Trump. So I don't know. I really hope people find out about this before we start getting completely screwed. Make your 5 calls, call your representatives, call your senator, call, every elected official you've got up and down the line in order to let them know that they better support this. They better protect Social Security. They better protect Medicaid. They better protect your rights and the civil rights of your fellows. It takes more than that, though. You need to get out there and join your local Democrats. You need to get out there and join your local DSA. You need to get out there and join your local Indivisible protests or your Tesla takedown protests. It's not enough to simply be correct anymore. It's not enough to simply sit back in your chair and be like, "That's the correct thing right there." Being correct. That's enough. No, it's not enough. You actually have to do now. We are called upon in this era of heightened responsibility to do more than we previously were doing. That's what's required of us to be good and decent people in these times. Figure out what you can do and do something. Do something. Okay? If no one will listen, figure out a way to make them listen. Figure out a way to organize with folks and make them listen. Show up to their offices with press. Make some kind of protest scene. There are things you can do. So, understand our context is that it was never going to be a fair fight. The odds have always been stacked against us. They are stacked against us now. but we will continue to fight. We will continue to organize. We will continue to grow stronger. And make no mistake, the American public is stronger now than we were, 2 months ago. We are stronger now and more awake now than we were then. And that awareness and strength is only going to continue to grow alongside our fury. And at some point, we will win. So get out there and get to work. I didn't hear no bell.